So, good evening and welcome to the Spirit Hunters Incorporated live podcast. I'm Lance White Eagle, and joining me are
Hunter White Eagle,
Chrissy Holtz,
Trisha Jobson,
Monkey.
Lisa White Eagle,
Shane White Eagle.
Monkey, like Cher.
Yeah.
just one name.
Just one name.
also
Prince.
known as Ghost
Monkey.
Daddy.
And this evening, we're going to be talking a bit about our recent excursion to the Maplewood Hotel in Lilydale, New York, and we'll be answering any questions you guys have. So if there's anything you would like to ask, just drop it in chat anytime, and our team of skilled moderators will be monitoring that and relaying those questions to us as we go.
A little bit about Lilydale. It is the spiritualist movement capital of the world. A lot of stuff has happened over the years, starting with the Fox sisters. We recently are starting a new co-op with Lilydale, and we're going to be doing multiple investigations there. So stay tuned. In the spring, we're going to hit the Leland Hotel and other locations thereafter.
Yeah, and if you want more like in-depth history on Lilydale, there's a documentary called Lilydale, or No One Dies in Lilydale, and there's a book that's titled is Lilydale, the Town Where the Dead Speak.
the town that talks to the dead, I believe.
Yeah, and it's all over the internet, so you can.
Also, they have their own Facebook page and other pages as well. Please visit them. Maybe go and see them this year. We will be doing other types of events that aren't necessarily paranormal, Native American speaking events there too. So stay tuned.
Now, the hotel, the Maplewood Hotel, has been a established building in Lilydale for quite some time, and people come from all over the world and stay in this hotel and have reported various paranormal or supernatural activities in the hotel, hearing voices, seeing people walk up and down the hallways,
Dumping, bunch of just noises in general.
noises. Yeah. So let's start out. What did anybody get anything when we first went in?
Well, when we were setting up, I think Chrissy and you guys went upstairs. You were saying you got some activity up there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We got
You
something
guys
while we
did,
were
yeah.
setting up. Before we were setting up, because
Same
you
with me.
radioed and you're like, "Are you guys gonna come down and help?"
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
like, "Hold on," because we were in the hallway,
Was it on the second
Second
floor?
second floor.
Yes.
Yeah, and you want to tell them what we?
When we were on the second floor, we were walking through and we heard the voice of a young girl.
Which
So,
a few of us ended up hearing
Yes.
on later out throughout the night too.
Yeah, later, Monkey and I were in the same area and also heard, and we couldn't quite make out what she said, but it was definitely a small girl
Yeah.
talking down the hallway.
I want to mention too, before all this, when I was doing the walkthrough up there, on that, I was on the second floor, but I was on the perpendicular aisle, the one that went towards the attic or whatever. That side, of the building. I got it didn't quite feel like anything grabbed my hand per se, but my whole arm just got lit up in chills, and my hair was sticking up, and it didn't like I said, it didn't feel like anything, but there was definitely some kind of something that made just my left arm get the chills. So
Where was this at?
on the second floor towards the back side, not the main hallway, but
Shane, when we were going up the steps when we were first doing the walkthrough and putting the lights, I think you had an experience too.
Oh, yeah, I was. Monkey and I were going up the stairs with a camera and some of the stuff attached to it, power sources, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder on going up the stairs. I thought it was one of our members. I just said, "Hello," or what, but no one was there.
Yeah, I was right behind you. I was putting the lights up on the
Right.
platform, and you thought I did. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I'm like, what do you want? Nothing. I didn't say you could do anything,
Yeah.
So that was right in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a room there that several mediums did paintings, whether it was blindfolded or of one is of a spirit guide from one of the more famous
Guide,
mediums
yeah.
from the past. What was the name? Azur.
Azur.
Oh, I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
That painting itself has got some lore about it, some paranormal stuff happening, and we did actually get some activity there too. We'll
Quite a
talk
bit,
about.
actually, yeah.
The whole hotel was built in the around 1850s, I think it was. So it's got some history to it too. It's also right beside three mini lakes, Cassadaga Lake. I think they call it north, south, and east lakes, and so maybe that has something that gives it a little more power. Who knows? Lilydale also has a native history that goes back centuries. We did a lot of research for this. Turns out there's been natives well before the Iroquois people. The Seneca came this way, the Mohawk, the Miskatonic people, the Erie people, Algonquin, Huron. There were some ancient earthen structures that are thought to be there before 10,000 BC. So this place had spiritual power even before the spiritualists, started their camp there. So there's a lot of history there that we're going to be able to express in future podcasts with you and online and so forth.
And there's something that I've been looking into about Lilydale. There's talk of what's called the Dragon's Path, and it goes through Europe. And supposedly, because of the curvature of the earth, it comes through Lilydale, right around where the stump is at Lilydale. For those of you that don't know, the stump is where the mediums used to get up and they'd stand up on the stump and do readings for the crowd.
And they still do.
They
in the
still
summertime.
do. They don't stand on the stump anymore.
Yeah.
But the stump actually is. I've been on the stump before they closed it all off, and it's actually an energy vortex.
Right.
But this Dragon's Path goes through all these places, St. Michael's Skellig, all these, and they're all named after Michael was the messenger. So it's really interesting to see this ley line and how it correlates to what goes on in
Absolutely.
those areas.
And in our research, we confirmed that there definitely are ley lines there. A lot of members there believe, of course, that there is a vortex there. So that's all kind of connected to what is talking about.
When I first stood on the stump, I got super dizzy. And I was there with some dowsers, and I was new to it all, and I almost couldn't stand on the stump anymore. I thought I was going to fall off. That's how dizzy I got. And the guy said, all right, I said, I have to get down. I got down, and they're like, now get back up there. I'm like, no. I was afraid to go back up on the stump. And they said, ask for only the energy you can handle.
Overwhelmed.
And then I was fine the second time I got up. So, but yes, I can attest that there is definitely something in that stump. So,
Did you get a question on Facebook, Lise?
No, but it just says Annette Sutherland Smith. She just pointed out that Shane, Lisa, Lance, and Hunter, I'm so proud y'all are using your gifts.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
That's
Annette.
nice, yeah.
Good to see you on there. Tell June and your beautiful daughter I said hi.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned the paintings. You want to talk about some of the activity you guys had in that room?
We can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we were doing the spirit box session, and I think I was the first one that started. And at first, I don't think I got much within like the first.
Yeah, tell who was in the room.
It was Dad, Lisa, Monk, me, and Chrissy, I think.
I don't
remember who exactly
Aiden
was
was
in there.
in
Not
there.
Chris.
at one
Aiden was in
point.
there
yeah.
the second
Chris,
time.
Okay.
you and Chrissy went in the second time.
Yeah.
Together.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Hunter's father.
Apparently, Lance is.
Apparently, according to some people, I'm my little brother's daddy too. I don't know how that works.
Inside joke. But yeah, anyways, I was on the spirit box, and I kept feeling this like vibration thumping beside my feet, and I kept asking if there's anybody around me, whatever. And then once I realized there was nobody there, it would stop, which was a little odd. I even took my blindfold off at one time just to see if I was, seeing one of these guys trick me or something.
Right, we're doing a sensory deprivation.
Yeah, there was nothing there. And then it continued to happen over and over. It would stop, and I thought, it wasn't rhythmic. It wasn't like on a pattern or anything like that. So I couldn't explain that. But then, so as Dad was saying earlier, the spirit guide named Azir, it's this big old beautiful painting. What, like a 4x7 foot painting?
Yeah,
almost
maybe
life size.
wider.
Yeah. And I all of a sudden I heard his name come in, and I didn't know what it really was at first.
Hunter couldn't, obviously, because he's got noise dampening earphones on. We were asking about Azir.
Yeah.
And then
Keep in
you
mind,
said,
we're blindfolded, but I don't wear one. I just keep my hands over my eyes. But yeah, they're asking questions about him, and I hear his name come through. What we didn't mention earlier is that we have in front of his painting, which is kind of gated off by these ropes and a table. We have a motion sensor that we actually stuck up facing the painting, which is
right, 4 feet from the painting. You can't get inside because it's roped off.
Yeah.
Only one thing, you nothing between the two.
Yeah, and as we started talking about him, as soon as I get that name come through the spirit box, ding dong, really loud, and it happened so many times throughout the night when we would bring up his name.
It directly responded when we were asking it to do something.
Yeah.
And if it was Azar related.
Azir, yeah.
Azur or Azar, whatever. And, it went off multiple times. We also had EVPs in that room. I know before that, I went in there for a private session. You can hear walking. There's all these old wooden chairs in there, rocking chairs. You can hear the people, like almost somebody sitting down, on the chairs. So there was some cool stuff.
Good impression of it.
Yeah.
Chrissy, don't be smirking up there.
I will say that was one of my favorite investigations because everywhere you went was a nice, comfy rocking chair to have.
It really was.
They were everywhere.
Every hallway, every room,
every corner.
You're just like, let's go to the 3rd floor. Oh, yeah, here's a rocking chair.
Yeah. It was.
Which is funny because that's basically like the whole sense of or the whole feeling of Lilydale.
Yeah, it's a relaxed environment.
Yes, it's just you walk in the gates and you can go in with your shoulders touching your ears, and you walk in those gates and it's just everything just leaves your body that's negative.
I'm not usually fairly sensitive, but when I got there, I had energy coursing through me, and I gotta say, some
That's
people may
very
give me a hard
sensitive.
time. The day after, I have never felt so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
We were up all night. We had to drive through a storm. I think we got home at 7 in the morning or something like that.
No driving like winter.
Yeah.
I had energy the whole day and almost no pain for the first time in years.
Yeah.
I felt great.
Yeah, I did too.
And I don't know if it had to do with that, but it was something positive there that affected me.
Yeah, there's definitely something about the energy of the land.
And I gotta say too, Joanne Mansfield, the president of the assembly, and Bobby, who were there, were fantastic. I mean, they greeted us with donuts and coffee.
Which can't beat
They
that.
were
You can't beat that,
Great,
no.
good people. The assembly is really something that is special.
Yep.
And I like their open-mindedness, their kindness, their willing to interact and to work with us. It was really cool.
Now, Chris, what did you get? Did you get anything in the
Azure
Yeah.
room? When we went in there, I'm trying to think. You were in there with me, and it was Brenda and Lisa. Were
Think
you in
it's
there
Lisa,
with us?
yeah. At one
We
point,
were
I
sitting
think
in the
Lisa came
rocking chair. I know when I was sitting in there was the one chair where you said there was a lot of activity when you were sitting in it. It was to the left-hand side. When I sat in that chair, something did touch my leg, and it felt like the chair was kind of like vibrating for no reason. There was like this constant, like just shaking.
That experience.
And I mean, there was nothing around there that would have caused that. So that was kind of interesting.
Nice. Now, I'm not just for our viewers skipping Trish. Trish couldn't make it with us to that investigation. So, Monk, did you have anything in the painting room that you can recall?
No, just everyone else, just the doorknob or the door thing going off, seeing
Yeah.
that, and
Now, and we weren't trying to be insulting or anything, but like, we like to have a good time. So Monkey and I think we're making some jokes in there and stuff. But he didn't seem to get offended.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
just didn't get much of anything. Lise, you get anything different?
When we first got there and we were setting up like the equipment, like pulling everything out, those rooms that are right in where we set up the boo room, the ones at the back, I had went in there, just kind of walk around, and Trish had mentioned something about being dizzy and like lightheaded. I had got that when I was in one of the rooms back there. I don't know if that had anything to do with
Yeah.
the whole place in general, or
Yeah, maybe. When you go into a hotel, there's a big open foyer reception area where the desk is and so forth, and restrooms. And then in the next room is a big dining room, and that's where we had our boo at. Boo is base of operations, Monkey's idea. And then in the back corner of that building was 3 more rooms, and that's where she was talking about. So one of the hot spots there for anybody who wants to spend the night there, maybe get something.
I must say, this place didn't give you any kind of like evil vibes or malicious
No.
vibes at all. It was very peaceful, easygoing.
Paranormally active, but good stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
good,
creepy in the
positive
good
feeling.
creepy in the good sense.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, lots of activity. Like, oh, I just heard a little kid's voice, or what I thought was a baby's voice crying. Turns out later it was just one of the girls downstairs. But you know,
Hey, you gotta debunk everything.
It
Yeah.
was an old building, and it was the sound really carried through
yeah.
there.
And when the wind blows, it creaks.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was also 60 plus mile an hour.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was a driving advisory that turned into a ban
Yeah.
while we were there, and we were like, let's go
I
anyway.
didn't
Let's
know
do it
that.
anyway.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Yeah.
that either.
yeah, for Buffalo area.
Yeah.
because of what we drove through.
Yeah,
the
like you
blowing
were on the
whiteout.
outskirts.
But you were talking about debunking. You want to talk about our excitement at the rocking chair while reviewing the footage?
Oh.
Okay, and I don't know how, but was it the second floor? I think, right?
Yeah.
There was a rocking chair. So we have our camera at the far end of the hallway facing the staircase, the main staircase. And for whatever reason, one of the rocking chairs at the end looked like a shadow that was being casted from a light somewhere on the camera or around it or whatever. And so I saw that, and keep in mind, I was like blocking the stairway from the camera's angle. And it looked like there was somebody in there rocking it. We started freaking out.
Just started real slow.
Yeah,
rocking back and forth.
We were
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. And we're
We
like,
all were just, we stood
we
up and we're like, oh
jumped
my
up
God.
looking at the TV like, look at this, you know. Till we realized later, it was my little sister somehow sat down in the chair when none of us noticed.
Yeah.
And was just sitting in that chair, just slowly walking
And
back.
she was sitting there for a long time, just not moving.
Yeah.
And then, and then so when it starts rocking, it's not even like something had just walked up. We were,
No, she's like
Yeah.
a little creeper in the dark.
yeah. I was barely just sitting there
Oh,
silent
that's
by
another
herself for
thing.
like
Well-
20 minutes.
While she was sitting there, this is just a side. She's sitting there, she's looking at
Oh,
her
my
phone and she's
God.
playing around, doing whatever, texting her buddies. And there's a spirit ball probably about 5-10
Those
feet away
10
from
feet
her.
away from
Those
her.
light up
And
cat
it's
balls
just,
for
it
those.
keeps
Trying
lighting
to get her
up.
attention.
And she doesn't even look at it once. Doesn't look up once,
Looking
doesn't
at her
acknowledge
phone,
it.
10 feet away,
It's like-
this thing is like, hey,
It's like, Aiden, Aiden.
Hey, look at me.
Aiden, I'm right here. Hey, I'm right here. And it's bright,
seriously, it went off for, like, 5 minutes.
flashing
Right.
lights.
It's completely dark. This
Yeah.
is a really bright, multicolored ball, and it's going off right in front of her, and she doesn't even notice.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Well, yeah.
Multiple
On that
times.
same
Or
floor,
not
though,
even
that
acknowledge
cat ball has
it.
been
Not-
going
I don't know
off.
if she didn't notice it, but definitely did not
No,
acknowledge
didn't
it.
acknowledge it. Yeah.
The spear ball was going off on that floor a lot, though. I mean, every floor, but that floor leading up to her, even her sitting in that chair was going off a lot. And then when she sat down, the one on the cushion was like, "Hey, look at me!
Look at me.
You know,
Look at
no
me.
one else saw me earlier. You know."
I'm right here.
But yeah, it was a pretty active place, and it was like an excited kind of active. Like you're like, "Holy crap!" You know, but.
Yeah. If you got anybody
I'm
else
trying to
got a...
update it because
story?
I'm seeing all these over
The
here,
spirit
but not
box
over
session
here.
upstairs when it shut off.
Not me.
Oh,
Yeah,
me,
but
you,
I was
Lisa,
just-
and
I
I was
was like,
looking
no,
But we were doing a spirit box session. I had the headphones on, and it was you, Lisa,
and Graham.
and Brenda, and we were sitting there, and there was at least half a battery
There was
left.
3 bars on
Yeah.
it when we first started.
So we're sitting, and we weren't even there for that long.
Yeah, and let me mention, these
Nice.
batteries last all
Yeah,
almost the
usually a whole
entire investigation
investigation.
every single time.
more actually.
Yeah.
They'll last like Chrissy's
Couple.
has lasted a couple
Yeah.
without it
Yeah.
having to be recharged.
So I'm sitting there, and at one point in time, it told Lisa to sit down, I believe.
Oh
Lisa-
yeah.
Lisa was standing against the wall. Grandma was on the bed with Chrissy, and I was on the floor recording. Lisa was were you alive or were you just sitting there? I don't remember.
I don't think I was live. I think I was just video,
The EVP thing.
like
you
doing
mean?
the EVP thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're all sitting there, and then Chrissy hears, in her voice, she says, "Sit down," in like a demanding male's voice, and then I was
She
like,
does just sound that way sometimes.
Yes.
So.
"Well," the way she said it, she was like, "Sit down," and I mean, in her deep
It
voice,
was a
not
very
yeah.
condescending
Sit down.
voice.
But no, yeah. So I had to tell it. I was like, "Look, you be respectful. You can ask her to sit down.
Like,
you
that's
don't.
my mom.
You don't. Yeah, that's right. That is right."
You yell at my mom.
And I was like, no, you ask
That's
her in a
my
respectful
mom.
way. You don't demand things. You know, you are polite about it, and we'll consider it if
Yeah.
you're being, respectful. But
And before the shutdown happened, what did it ask? I can't remember because you guys were asking the questions. I didn't hear them.
we were asking the questions that we were asking with, I think,
If I recall correctly, I think you asked because it sounded like it was getting grumpy.
yeah.
And I think I wasn't up there, but I do believe Mom or somebody had said that you guys had asked, "Do you want us to leave you alone?"
That's-
And it killed the spirit box.
Well, all of a sudden I'm sitting there and it just shuts off.
You can bring it up.
The battery's completely dead.
Oh, we got a question. up
Yeah. So I was just waiting for you guys
Oh, okay.
to finish.
But anyways,
talking.
it just randomly shut off. Battery was completely drained, would not turn back on.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we had a question, actually from Chrissy's friend Ronnie. She says,
Ronnie.
"Who
Hello.
has had the most interactions with spirits out of all of you?"
Lisa. Maybe.
Lisa,
I don't
Hunter,
know.
and
I don't
Chrissy.
Us-
Typically,
Oh,
yes.
on our investigation.
On
Oh,
our
in the
I'd say,
investigations. Okay.
Yeah, one of
I'd
us
say,
three.
yeah.
Yeah, in the
Probably yes.
investigations, those 3 are Monkey gets a pretty good amount.
We're the beacons.
Les and I are the least, Uh,
True story.
You can call us the mighty beacons. It's all right.
the mighty.
The spirit beacons.
Yes.
Ha!
We'll just call you the bees.
Spirit beacons.
The
with our
bees-
The
spirit
bees
ball.
get a lot of it.
She said spirit beacons with our spirit balls.
yeah. Yeah, on the investigations, it's generally Chrissy, Lise, Hunter get the most.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always, some places just don't. Like we've done a couple where Hunter's got nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Like at Lilydale, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Chrissy
there's-
got nothing at Lilydale until we separated.
Yeah.
And then she got stuff with everybody else.
Yep.
well,
But-
we all did have a lot of activity on the 3rd floor. By the way, Brenda, that Chrissy missed, is my mother, Lance's mother, and Hunter's grandmother, who was at the investigation and is producing our program.
She's behind the camera.
Hi,
Say hello.
Grandma. On the 3rd floor, I went up initially by myself. We had a REM pod and a cat ball up there. We called it cat ball, spirit ball, whatever. And I was asking direct questions. I introduced myself, and I was getting responses on both the cat ball and the REM pod. Multiple ones. Then my mother comes up, and she had a K2 meter, and she was getting direct questions answered with the K2 meter, the cat ball, and sometimes also the REM pod. So it was really active on that 3rd floor. We spent probably a good hour right then at that time, talking to something. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
At that time, it said it was a Native American 14-year-old boy, which I think turned out to be somebody just, a spirit
Messing
messing
with
with
us,
us.
yeah.
Happens. People mess with you. Spirits, same thing sometimes.
They get
And-
bored,
Yeah,
And,
like
and why not have a little fun if you're, hanging out in the building all day?
Cat,
like
catfishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not every spirit is going to be as interactive with one person as it is with another person. It could be like in our personal experiences, most spirits tend to like the women a lot more. So Lisa, Chrissy, Tana, Trish when she's with
we're
us.
just meat, and they just throw us in there.
Hannah is Monkey's wife. She's also part of the group.
Yeah.
That's a totally different channel.
Spirit Hunters 18 plus. But yeah, no. So it kind of just
Join our
depends.
OnlyFans.
That's the joke. That's the
Okay.
joke.
We have
Yeah,
another
right.
question.
Okay.
First, Ethan Connor says he loves the podcast.
Oh,
Ethan.
hey,
We
thanks.
love
thank
you
you.
too,
Yeah.
Ethan.
Ethan's one of the bean
Yes.
guys.
The
Ah.
bean. Hey, okay.
Okay, and so Ronnie says, do any of you have an instant feeling or vision that you can explain right away? Like, I can see a spot and just know and give a small detail.
Well, our one of our remote team members, I believe her name is Ronnie.
Yeah,
right?
I believe that's her
Has
name.
actually, when we almost all of our investigations, Chrissy will bring up Ronnie, who asked the question, on a live walkthrough,
FaceTime.
and a couple of times, places Ronnie has pointed out from California, like in the Stone House. She was like, I feel like this area is
It
active.
was the window overlooking.
Yeah, we
like,
set
the
up a camera
courtyard.
there, and we got knocks and bangs.
Didn't she
all
see
night.
something on Lilydale?
She said it was on the stage where we were playing poker with the, or no,
That was at
at
Genesee Falls.
Genesee Falls. But at Genesee Falls, she
Oh.
said right up there, and the seat where the woman would sit with her
Yeah.
That's right.
boyfriend.
Now,
Okay.
I will say, probably not during an investigation, but in our regular life, I know Shane and I, and I'm sure probably the rest of you, have experienced where you go somewhere and you immediately, like, you walk in and you're like,
This doesn't feel like.
don't like this place.
Yeah.
You know?
Are really nasty people sometimes. I had a guy was walking up behind me, and I could feel him before he got to me. It made me spin around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's usually I'm not usually that sensitive, but for certain people or certain
Yeah, as a-
environments,
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
depends too. Plus, like the more you do, kind of like what we do, the more in tune you can kind of be with those feelings.
well, because
Like-
we're open to it,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
we're
Yeah.
focused energy.
Yep.
So-
These things are drawing our energy and being able to do more and more.
And
Yeah.
as time goes on, you become more confident in your own senses
Your own
and
ability.
sensing
Yeah,
things.
that's true. And I'm sure Monk and Trish, you guys have probably had the same, like, places you go or people you meet that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, eh.
Yep.
Nope. Probably a lot with Monkey and I together. He's
Yeah.
like, why are you making me come to this place?
Poor Monkey. Monkey gets dragged along to these places.
But he's a trooper.
Okay, so Brenda says, tell us about playing poker with the spirit.
Brenda says.
Yep.
Oh, that's a different podcast. That was at, but yeah,
That
you
was at
mentioned
the-
at Genesee Falls.
Yeah.
I got an inclination that whatever was there was a bit of a
Hustler.
hustler back in the day. That's a
Yeah.
good word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
was
yeah.
when I was on the
You were on the
Spirit
spirit
box.
box. So
Play
Monkey,
poker?
Yeah.
Monkey and I, was it just me and you, Monk,
Were you? I didn't know if you were making.
or was it Hunter?
I
I think
what you
Hunter
said.
was up, or maybe
No,
Tanner
it
No,
might
was
have been.
Monkey.
Maybe
Okay,
it's just
you guys
me
in
and
the
you
hallway?
at first, and Tana. No, in the attic, in the ballroom.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
I was
okay.
like, all right, like,
So wait,
like I
that's not-
got
that wasn't Genesee.
That's not Genesee Falls.
No.
No, I was,
Simeon Robbins.
That's
Simeon
Simeon
Robbins,
Robbins.
Miners
We've
Cabin.
been going to a lot of
Yeah.
places
Yeah.
recently.
You
gotta
kinda start
excuse
getting
us.
them mixed
It's-
up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
get confusing sometimes.
Simeon Robbins, yeah. So we'll do a whole podcast on that, but
Yeah.
to elaborate on that, so we were like, this guy was a bit of a hustler, maybe a little charlatanry in his
Yeah.
past there. So we pulled out a deck of cards, and at first we did a couple hands of 5-card draw, and Chrissy's on the spirit box. She doesn't even know that we got
Yeah, I
playing
had a
cards out.
blindfold.
Blindfolded.
She's
on.
blindfolded. She
Yeah.
can't hear anything. And so I get here and I'm like, do you want any cards? And Chrissy hears on the spirit box, no. And we were joking around. We're
Yeah.
like, bold move, Simeon. Bold move, buddy. He actually won.
Yeah, twice in a
2
row.
pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, twice in a row. So we realized, like, all right, let's play some 3-card monte then. You know, so I get and we have the queen and the 2 black aces.
Is that when I said she's
And
there?
do the toss, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put my hand over the cards, and you can tell me 1, 2, or 3, or you can, and I'm gesturing, and then she hears, she's there, as I'm pointing to one of the cards, flipped it over as the queen. He won that, what, 3 out of 4 times?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. and
This guy might know what
and
he's doing.
Chrissy's thinking it makes no sense because
That's
the
what I
first
took my
time she hears
headphones off.
she's there, and then a little bit later she hears like 2 or that, you know, and then
she's
so
on
and she
using
has
the
no
spirit box
idea.
with a sensory deprivation.
Yeah, so she takes
Right.
her headphones off and she's like, "Is this making any sense?"
We're like, yes.
And we're like, yeah, and then she looks and we're sitting on the floor looking at cards and she's like, what in the heck is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was actually pretty good. And then we got out the shell game a little later and he was not so fond of that.
He played a lot. He just
played it
didn't
a few
win.
times. Yeah, but you can't.
You
know.
can't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think with the Lilydale, the only thing that seemed a little, weird is that. All right, Lisa does dowsing rods. These things right here. And of course, we don't say that in terms of paranormal. We always
Thinking
try
with
to
glasses.
verify what she gets with that, but it is also interesting. And this thing, who said he was a native boy, which we turned out later he was just messing with us, probably because we're native. And he tells me, for some reason, he picks me out of the room of people that what was it? Something about the wall there.
He was buried in the wall.
Yes,
I think it was.
He
Well,
was
there
in
was-
the wall, and he wanted me to put my hand in this spot. Me not wanting to be rude, whether it's spirit or person, and trying to be encouraging, I put my hand in this wall. He left me there forever. And every time I finally started to put my hand down, he's like, "No, put it back up." So, like a weirdo, I'm sitting here with my hand on the wall for I don't know how long until I realized
we got that on video.
He's just
Yeah.
messing with
he was
you.
just messing with me. I'm like,
And-
"Oh, thanks."
And
He's on the other
every
side going.
time, every time he took his hand off of the wall, the rods would just go whoop, point right back to the
Even
wall.
when you get back
By
on
the way,
that wall.
even when Lisa wasn't looking at me, because the one time she's like this, and I'm over here by the still like this, getting tired with my hand on the wall. So I went like this, thinking that maybe he's focused on her. I sat down, and that rod comes back like this.
Hey,
I'm like, oh.
And this was the same room that we were in when the spirit box shut off.
right.
So it was
Room,
a
what
completely
was it,
different.
But
tone.
it was earlier.
What number was that? on there?
34.
34. Even though, it was on the 3rd floor, room 34. Good place to try to get some activity in the future.
I'd sleep in that room.
So,
I also noticed on a few occasions on the 3rd floor, and I think they were all on the 3rd floor. You come up the step. There's a long hall this way, and then there's a real long hall that cuts off to the left. I noticed shadow figures in there a few times. One time I go over there to check it out. There's a full attic with a staircase with a door laying flat with the ceiling, and looking around here, for this shadow person, and that door starts rattling up and down. Has to be either pushed up or pulled up,
yeah.
and it rattled several times just to get my attention. So that was kind of cool.
What were you about to say, Lise?
I was just gonna say, do we want to explain to them what we were told about how the 3rd floor is actually the 1st floor, and how they had built
explain
it
that. That
up?
was kind of cool. Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I don't know.
So when they built the place, they started off.
It started off as a stable.
Yeah, the attic now was a stable, and
Yeah.
how they built it was they lifted up that floor, built another floor, lifted up those two, built another one, and then
And
there was,
again.
and
Yeah.
then they put a basement in there, right?
No, 3 floors, and the attic was the stable. So they added 3 more floors underneath
But-
that.
Isn't there a basement though too? They didn't.
No basement.
No
Oh.
basement. Now, it was just a door that just went under the stairs to, like, the wiring. That door we were looking at that we thought went to
Yeah.
the basement, it was
Okay.
just like the nook under the
Okay.
stairwell.
Right. Well, I understand it's just a crawl space.
Pipe access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This place was huge, and those hallways were really obscured.
And it wasn't designed to be a hotel, so like the layout was very like kind of odd, like T intersections and
But
like
what doesn't make sense about that is because like the buildings,
well, not TL, I guess it
Yeah.
would be. Yeah,
the building's the exact width all the way down.
yeah.
So why not just make each of the rooms the same as it is on the opposite side? But like this one's 16 foot and this one's 8 feet. You know,
Because you're
it's-
talking like early 1900s,
Right.
You know, and they're like,
Still,
oh, we
it's
don't.
just-
We're,
And
we're not
if you
overly
build
concerned
about
with measurements.
right,
Well,
and,
1800s,
if you're
yeah.
building a building from the bottom up, or,
Yeah, that's
or
the odd way to
no
make
a
sense.
sense.
reverse
Yeah,
of how it would normally be.
Yeah,
more difficult that way.
yeah, lots of
Plus-
confusing.
The original part of the house, wouldn't you want that to be the main focal point? Like the first floor was the attic.
Well, they weren't thinking of it as like, oh, this is a historical thing because it was still fairly new.
I mean,
They
that's
were just
true.
thinking,
Yeah.
raise it up for some reason.
And then build
Hey,
on it.
Brother Bear.
Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Aw,
Hey, Jay.
Hello.
Chrissy's smiling. Jr. We talk about you sometimes. We've covered some of your stories, Jr.
Yeah, I've heard some interesting
Don't pop
things.
nothing.
Yeah. We did get, not just now, but last week, a question sent to us on Facebook from a very old family friend of ours, Paul Snyder.
Hi, Paul. I think he's watching tonight. I think he said he was going to.
Oh, nice. If not, he'll watch it on YouTube later.
Or he'll
He's
just
been
watch
watching
it tomorrow.
Yeah. But he recounted a incident where he had woken up and saw something standing at the foot of his bed dressed in like nautical attire. And he lives in central Ohio.
Right.
But they had just recently, he and another dear friend of our family's, Alan, Alan had bought a painting of a sea scene, and they had no idea the history of it. And Paul was asking if we thought that a spirit could be attached to something like a painting.
Right. And that's a good question because maybe not necessarily the owner, but it could have been the owner of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some ideas out there that when you focus energy on a piece of art like that, and you're putting a little piece of yourself in there, that sometimes maybe a poltergeist type of entity can be developed. And maybe that was something he was experiencing.
Yeah.
I think more likely that it was probably some type of sailor that owned the painting initially
Yes.
anyway, and maybe was still attached to it. There was some kind of,
Yeah,
Exactly.
we've had
connection there.
JR says energy can definitely attach to things.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and we've
can,
had
yep.
lots of different experiences over the years, not as spirit hunters, but just as individuals with objects or clothing.
Yeah.
Personal
Personal experiences and other people that
Yeah.
brought, you know,
some entity got attached to an object,
Yeah.
and then whoever ended up with that object had to deal with the baggage that came with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Like burning a dresser.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she had
Or,
that.
I was just
Of
telling the
course.
story earlier.
I was a little different.
A what?
Long story, non-podcast story.
Yeah, long story short, I brought a dresser home and things kind of went crazy in my house. And once I realized what it was, that dresser went out the door and onto the fire pit.
Yeah. So
It
negative
happens.
things, I'm assuming.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Our father, for some reason, he hardly ever wore a suit. Sometimes he needed one, bought one at I forget, it was a yard sale or
You
something
want
like
you
that.
want to describe this suit?
Oh God, it was butt ugly.
Powder
no
blue
back,
tuxedo.
corduroy.
Oh.
No, it's like a corduroy. Was it
Green.
greenish?
Yeah.
Almost orangey.
Orangey,
Oh.
like seven, and it was not the era for that. It was
No,
like,
it
oh,
was a
it's a
big
good suit.
collar on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's something really bad was attached to that and caused chaos in our house for a month or two. Mostly with my little sister.
Eventually, I think it was a seer or somebody, right, who said, like,
Medicine.
you guys are
Medicine people, yeah.
having trouble, and it's attached to the suit, and you got to get rid of that thing.
Yeah, we went through a special ceremony. You know,
And I'm sure Mom was really upset, like, oh, we gotta burn the orange corduroy suit.
Oh, dang it.
No.
you probably heard it first, like, let me get in here and choke my child.
It was a suit. Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
She paid off the seer.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell him the suit's bad now.
Yeah.
$40.
Yeah. Every time the brownies went missing, she did say it was a ghost. So
Listen,
I'm just saying.
I could devour a whole pot of brownies myself.
Yeah.
All right, I don't blame her for that.
But yeah, things definitely get attached. Thanks for your question.
Yeah.
We miss you, Paul.
We got any other questions, comments on the...
Nothing yet. A lot of people popping in.
How about on
the
TikTok?
Insta?
Anything?
Nope.
Nope.
No?
TikTok
Nope.
people just popping in and out.
Again, if anyone
Couple
has any
people liked it.
questions, you have anything you just want to ask us, personal questions about
Or
our
something to add.
investigations,
We'll
just
put it out there.
yep.
Got 188
Um,
likes.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Wanted to say Chrissy's hat there was given to us
Oh.
today by the writer William P. Robertson. Wrote a number of books, historical books, but he also has 4 paranormal type books. What were they called, Lance Quiver?
Ghosts
Revisited.
Ghosts Revisited 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 to come soon. Gave us some hats today. We went out to Hencoop Cemetery, did a little thing with him and Ryan Cavallini. Somebody I think both people we're going to be doing a lot more, things together in the future. So keep an eye out for that.
Sorry, Bill Robertson, his books, you can buy them on Amazon if you're not local to Bradford. If you are local to Bradford, they're also for sale at the Main Street Mercantile.
Yep.
Yep.
And-
Great guy.
Ryan is a filmmaker.
Yep.
Ryan has Legend Hunters films, does some horror movies. He also does some documentaries, which is why we were at Hencoop Cemetery today, giving interviews and some of the stuff that happened with us and showing them some of the weird stuff over there. So check him out.
And what was the name of his film company?
That's actually on the hat.
Which is...
I can't read my own
Hunters
hand.
The,
Oh, no, that's-
horrorhaven.com.
Oh, maybe
No,
it's not.
we're talking about for Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Legend Hunters.
Legend Hunters
Films.
Yeah. And he's got a Facebook group and things. And
Yeah.
All right, we got another question. Mark asks, "Can you explain how some of your devices work?"
ooh, yes, we
do
can.
have a
Yeah.
podcast coming out. It
Yeah.
should be coming out this up one.
Whenever we want to post it. Let's say, we did a whole video on going through our equipment and explaining what each piece of equipment does and how we use it
Not
to
every single one, but what
The
a lot of them,
like the
majority of
main
them.
thing.
Yeah.
the main ones that we mentioned. And that will be on the Spirit Hunters Incorporated YouTube channel later this week, so keep an eye out for that. But we've mentioned spirit balls, which are small plastic balls that have a gyroscope in them that will react to movement, vibrations, or if something inanimate can trigger that gyroscope,
Something,
it
yeah,
will
that
also
internally.
light
Yeah.
up. We've
REM
mentioned
pods.
the REM pod, which is
It's like a little device with an antenna that can detect,
It has an electromagnetic field. That
Yeah.
if it's broken, it goes off.
yeah, and it's like a loud, and it's got multiple colors, but it's like a loud kind of pitchy sound.
It also has a temperature gauge in it and will notify you with sound and lights if there's more than a 5-degree temperature drop or raise quickly in a room. So that's helpful.
We also have, it's called a Boo Bear. It's a teddy
Awesome.
bear, and it came from Ghost Stop, I think.
Yeah, go stop.
And it
Boo
senses
Buddy, is
temperature,
technically the name,
temperature
if you wanna look it
changes,
It also
sound.
has
Yeah,
magnetic
touch.
field detectors,
So-
temperature, motion,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff that and it interacts on its own.
Yeah.
If there's nothing
it-
going on.
if
It'll
no one's-
repeat a series of questions like, "What's your favorite
Story.
book?" or
Yeah.
"What's your
Yeah.
favorite story? What's your favorite color?
Color.
How old are you?"
What's the
And it
color
cycles
in
through
my,
these
you know,
questions
yeah.
and
Yeah.
in hopes of getting an answer back.
And we use a lot of EMF readers, which same kind of concept,
Couple different
magnetic
kinds.
fields, temperature changes. We use EVP recorders.
Just-
Any other
You got a
favorite?
favorite piece of equipment?
Oh,
Trish?
the us.
Laser grid.
the skeleton one, the S, is it STS?
Oh,
SLS. I kept
camera,
thinking
yeah,
it
that's
wasn't
that's a
ST.
cool one. Maps out,
Yeah.
you know, any kind of
Break
matter
Yeah.
that develops into a room, including people, of course, but anything that, you know, that is able to come together solid enough, it will map that out. How
You know-
about you, Monk? Anything you
So I like laser grid.
laser
Yeah.
laser
is
grid?
really
You
good,
use
yeah.
that a lot, yeah.
I will say, your best piece of ghost hunting equipment is this right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've said that.
That's
before
what
on
closes
our
our
podcast.
equipment video.
Yeah.
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 This is your own senses.
Yeah, you're the best
And cameras.
tool.
And just having
Now,
a
Lex,
phone.
we is a
Cell phone.
tool,
Yeah.
but you're the best tool.
I am the best tool.
I don't know, Chris. No.
Humor. And who was that question from? Mark?
Yep.
All right. Well,
Mark
thank you.
Blair.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. So let's see. We got any other questions going here?
On TikTok.
Not on TikTok, no.
Not on TikTok, not on the Facebook currently. So, what else have we been asked?
You also had some
Oh.
on your phone too.
This is true. I should have brought those up already.
Yeah, we
I hope you're enjoying our lives.
have it, and you
Travel.
guys, yeah. I hope you're enjoying the live. If
We're going to try to do
Well,
this
well.
more and more often, and we'll get better at this as we learn the technology and whatever
Oh, we
else.
got a couple more questions.
Oh.
Yay.
Mama Bear says, "How do I think it's supposed to be say rods? How do the rods work?" And
How do the roads work?
how the roads work, well, it depends. Coming home from
and,
Louisville, not well.
Brother
She
Bear,
got it.
Brother Bear says, "What's your favorite talk box conversation?"
Spirit box.
Oh, spirit box. When can you curse on Facebook
Yeah.
I mean, and TikTok.
and TikTok?
TikTok, yeah. I've
Is
done
that
it
allowed?
before.
All right, JR. My favorite was a ghost called Hunter a bitch.
And not even just like, oh, he's a bitch. He said, I'm a bitch. Like, the disrespect in this guy's
And
tone.
then almost pushed
and
you
then
over.
pushed him.
Face first, almost into the ground.
Listen, this dude wanted to throw hands. He's lucky he's a ghost.
Yeah. He's lucky he didn't have hands.
Yeah.
But that was good because three of us heard whatever say the B word on the spirit
Yeah,
box.
didn't I hear? Was this at
You
the
heard
cemetery?
it, Scotty
Yeah.
heard
And
it,
Coop.
and then I heard it. And you asked when
All
I
at
was
different
on
times.
it. You were like, well, who? Because we have 3-4 women with us. We had Tana, we had Chrissy and Lisa, Aiden and Tori, I think, were there.
Yep.
And so Chrissy says, well, who? Who are you talking to? And it goes, Hunter. And it was real clear. And Hunter was like, excuse me?
And of course, I'm always a hey,
Hey, be nice.
Settle down.
Be nice.
Listen, this dude blatantly
Yeah.
called me a punk ass, that's the way I interpret it. Like, punk ass, you ain't gonna do shit,
I think you're starting to see why Hunter gets a lot of that too. Might be a little easier target sometimes.
Oh. And what was? Oh yeah, Lisa, you want to talk the rods?
Oh, the rods, yeah.
Sorry, we kind of just blew by there.
Yeah.
It's fine. So, they are, a lot of people use them, they call them divining rods. A lot of people in the old days, like way back when, before they actually came out with like the copper ones, they would use like branches and you would be able to find water. But nowadays they use copper
And sometimes metal. Yeah.
yeah, and mine are on like a little spindle, and yeah, you can find. I can literally find anything with these things, and I just I have to attune to them. So I just ask questions, like yes or no questions, and it depends on what the spirits say. They can either point me in a direction, go left, go right, or
Right.
whatever.
And I
Solve
think
a
Lance
possible
and I
murder case.
say is we never know who's coming through.
Listen,
Because we think that Lisa
Yeah.
is obviously more sensitive than the rest of us. But
Not
I can tell you, we had
emotionally,
one
but
an
spiritually.
investigation recently at Genesee
My
Falls.
heart.
She got the guy's name, where he was killed, how he was killed, There was some controversy, and none of that we knew beforehand.
Who by?
Trish
Cough,
ended
cough.
up getting a friend of the guy who was, murdered.
Yeah.
And we had an historian that verified some of the and then I talked to the owners because I didn't have that information beforehand, and they verified so much stuff that we didn't have any idea, but she got it to the T with those rods.
Yeah.
It really actually made me have a whole different respect for the you know.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say.
knew sometimes things were going through, but like I said, we don't know what's going
As I say, and
what's channeling.
I've never been like a full on, believer in those things. At first, I was a huge skeptic. I'm just like, all right, you do your thing. But now, the more that I'm coming out, like at that investigation, more stuff is coming out to be
So-
true, and then it's
So when she's getting
based
this
on
stuff,
a fact.
we go through efforts to see
Yeah.
what if it's true. It's a lot more research, but it's worth it.
So all the rods are a tool for
Just like
your
that,
your.
but different.
That's why I say this is your best tool. But the rods are something that you're using. It's coming through you.
Yeah, you're channeling through.
Yeah,
almost,
and
yeah.
you can also. These are really good for directions and yes and no, but you can also use a pendulum to douse.
Yes, and Ronnie just asked, have you considered using a pendulum? I had actually made my own, and
I think you've done that.
yeah.
too.
Yeah, I used to be the vice president of the Genesee Valley Dowsers. So
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, no, I had made one, and it worked. I mean, not as good as the rods.
Mhm.
I definitely love my rods. I love them way better. With the pendulum, you can get like yes and no. You can't
Right.
get like more definite.
right,
Yeah.
pendulum. You can also actually douse distance. You can put a map and grid it out, and you can use a pendulum over each grid if you're looking for something. And we've doused in our. Unfortunately, the group is disbanded now, but we took a map of a place they wanted to drill a well, and all of us, there were like 9 of us in the group, we sat and we figured, okay, this spot on the land, and then we went to the land and we figured it out, and we had to ask how many feet down the water was, and should we case it? And they hit water at the amount of feet that,
That's very specific.
but
Yeah.
they should have cased it, and they didn't, and it was up by where all the salt mines are. And it got contaminated because of the salt. So we said, hey, you should have cased it.
Okay, so a couple more things on Facebook. Annette says, maybe the young native male was just trying to make y'all laugh. Y'all understand Native American people have a great sense of humor.
And that's true.
That's right.
And that's what we said at the time. When I'm sitting here like this, like a doofus on the wall for an hour,
He's doing the
even when
grandpa
I
laugh.
slipped it down, he'd make me put it back up. It wasn't good enough down here. It had to be here.
Okay, a couple more.
Funny. Real funny.
Do you ever get angry with spirit or call them out to get more activity? And how has that worked?
Well, we
don't
we look at-
antagonize.
We've
We don't-
never
we're not that kind of
purposely,
group.
antagonized.
Listen, I don't start the antagonism, Grandma. I just
All right.
retaliate.
Let me explain this. Okay, we see spirits as people, just in a different form.
Some are
So
assholes.
when we come up to
Yeah.
somebody, we're not going to be, hey, dance for me. Hey, dance for me. No, we don't do that. We don't do that with spirits either.
We've been on the
But
receiving end of that.
sometimes, as in people, you get some spirits that are asses. Excuse my language. And a couple times with Lance, and once with Lance, I think, and once with Hunter, that's what happened. We do
Oh, the Mimic House. I was getting grumpy
Yeah.
at the Mimic House.
a couple
Also,
times with Lance. Yeah.
A couple times, yeah.
In Salamanca at the hotel.
The Dudley.
Oh, I
Dudley
get
was a
grumpy
big
at
one
the
for
Dudley
Lance that
too.
really got him going. You might want to explain
Well,
it real quick,
JR would
but-
understand that. I have Dad's tobacco pouch, like a big beaded medicine bag, and whatever was in there took it off of my belt, and so that
It angered him.
Oh,
got me a little
right.
testy.
And
yeah.
then I have to come in a little bit. Hey guys,
Yeah, calm it down, guys.
Bring the
Like
the
Hunter
tip
at
down a
Hip
little
Coop, I
bit.
was ready to throw down.
Yeah.
Like, if you had a body,
Ghost
solid.
Daddy came in.
Like me.
Yeah. No, we've never gone in, and I think we all would say probably we disagree with those groups that purposely antagonize off the bat.
Yeah.
and try
Right.
to
Who
get a
do you
reaction.
think you are to talk to somebody like
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
that's just
It's rude and
being
nasty.
rude. Now we have Hunter and I mostly reacted in the same way we would react to anybody. And Hunter gets pushed by anybody and called a little,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's gonna have a certain type of reaction, but it wasn't purposely to.
Well, and
get
that goes
these
to
things
prove
riled
too
up.
that he sees them as people also.
Yeah.
They're just a different form.
Yeah.
And we don't take crap from anybody, but we do. You try to be as respectful, obviously, as we can,
Yeah, and we
we
do-
certainly don't go out looking for a
And
fight.
try to be understandable, like okay, they could be a little grumpy. Like I'd probably be
A
grumpy
bad
if I
day.
was dead too.
You know what? There's a bunch of crazy people really happy running around my
Yeah,
room.
my-
I'm just,
right.
Get out of here.
So-
we understand that.
And there's some spirits that are not aware that they're dead.
And it
Yeah,
happens
no, yeah,
sometimes, too.
there's plenty out there.
And I'll tell you too, if something says to get out, I'm tired of you, we get out. We respect that privacy. I wish more people did in this field.
I mean, we don't run out with our tail between our legs, but
No,
we
but-
respectfully be like, all right,
If they're done talking, if we hear over the spirit box or Lisa gets it on the rods that they don't want to continue the conversation, we will stop the conversation.
So how I became a member of this group was I own the Renwick House in Belfast, New York, and Shane had contacted me about coming out and doing an investigation. And I've worked in the paranormal field for a long time, and I was kind of a little bit weary about letting people in because exactly like you said, I don't want someone coming in and saying, "Hey, you dance for me." No, you're not treating my ghost like that. No,
Right.
And it turns out I'm actually a distant cousin of the woman whose husband built the house, and
Originally,
so it's
yeah,
family.
that was a cool story.
It's distant cousins, but still, it's that's my family. Like that's my mom. You don't mess with my ghosts. Because you guys were Native American, I immediately knew off the bat they're gonna be respectful, and that's why. And they're the only team I've let in so far. We're working on cleaning the house up and stuff, but that's how I think all teams should be. And the ones that go in and are disrespectful right off the bat, you can disrespect back. That I totally agree with because I've done it myself. But yeah, you need to understand that whether they're alive or dead, you have to start out with kindness.
I think when she says Native Americans, we are raised that spirits are as real as you and I,
Commonplace.
and that they're people, and there's different kinds of species where maybe it's little people. We'll have a episode about that later.
I don't know about that. Monkey's like, I ain't going for that one.
But we've had some
We
really
are-
cool stories about little people.
we're running out of time. Just so
But
you're
yeah,
aware.
we go in. We are raised that way, so we automatically, typically,
Running out of time.
that's how people treat people.
Well,
you
we're
know?
at weird usual, but we can
Peak
go.
time.
Over.
We can go a little
We can
over.
go,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, yeah.
And as Trish mentioned, she owns the Renwick House, and you have a Facebook group, right? It's a
Got a
historical.
lot of people following her on that. Yeah.
A historical building that she's trying to renovate and turn into like a community.
Yep,
Italian
a
Greek
community
Revival
center,
place. It's
yes.
a beautiful
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Community center, like a bed and breakfast kind of thing, paranormal research, and I want to actually dedicate one room to just files of paranormal research.
Right. It would be
So,
kinda cool.
Yeah,
a library.
Make sure to check that out, and I think we've got links to the Renwick House Facebook
We do.
group.
Yeah.
in our
And
group.
I'll send a fresh or something else out there to connect that. Our membership includes her, and I think now the Renwick House also its own page. But we'll send out more another way to get to that if you
and
want to check her out.
Thank you.
the film studio and
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff like that,
We'll
too.
we'll
make
try
sure
to
that-
link
Yeah,
all
and-
those.
and
Maybe we
Bill's
can link
books.
those to our website. You can use Linktree to connect to all our media platforms, and maybe we'll. That's a good thing we should start doing. Our partnerships and our groups and our co-ops, link them to our sites a lot better. We're getting there, guys. We're just IT defunct, but we're going to get there. And soon we'll have all those connections out there. And we have a number of authors now too that we're working with, and historical groups. We'll put some links out there for those.
Also, we have a store with merchandise.
Yeah.
The link is on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Is it on the link tree?
It is on Linktree.
It's on
Okay,
Linktree,
and
it's
it's,
a pinned
it's
comment.
our logo.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so
You can get hats,
I'm in the middle, but
sweatshirts,
wait.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Somebody cleaned these seats with Murphy's
actually,
oil and
you
didn't want
could have
it.
just
Can we see
pointed.
it?
Yeah, look.
Oh,
It's the design
Oh,
right
it's
above.
good.
better on our shirt.
I
But
thought, I
it's-
thought about that. I was
It's
really
colored,
trying to-
and obviously that's just, you know, a
Yeah.
And
rendition
any
what
of
you do.
the proceeds from that will go towards like travel expenses, new equipment,
New
and things
equipany.
like that to
Right,
continue
right.
the
Nobody
group.
makes a
One
salary.
more.
We're just out
Delbert
here
says
to
one
be able to
more.
experience new things.
One more. What you got?
One more what? What are we waiting for?
One more.
Yeah.
One more question, maybe?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
did you have another question?
I
thought
don't-
you said you had a couple
no.
in there.
Delbert, my brother, says one more.
One more what?
I don't know.
Delbert, are you messing with
He
us?
also says monkey smile.
Monkey smile.
He also said
Oh.
Hunter's
There it
Horror
is.
Day.
It says,
Look, I can throw hands with you. Hope
Okay,
you're doing
so-
all right.
Joking.
I know.
what's the ultimate of the hunt? Why are you setting free?
Wants to know if you're trying to set free.
Are you
spirits.
documenting?
Well,
like
yeah,
the
we're
goal.
absolutely
The goal.
documenting.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What's the full purpose?
There we go.
Oh, okay.
For
yeah,
fun?
we try to document, obviously, like a lot of people, the existence of paranormal, and we like setting new relationships, whether they're live or not. You know,
Was that from JR?
Mm-hmm.
JR, you're not on our YouTube channel? We only have one like
What a guy.
put together edited evidence video up right now, but yeah, we're gonna compile from our different places, almost like episodes of the different like activity and proof of stuff and exciting things there.
we have a lot of video. I mean, we got a lot of requests to do investigations. At first, we had to search everything out. Now, we have a we have a partnership with Cat County Department of Development and Economic Development and Tourism, Crystal Labors and her great staff, Deb and
Kate.
Kate.
and Amy. So we're going to be doing some group investigations there too. We're already starting our next year's calendar. We're still actually hitting a couple more. We're going to P80 next week. Chrissy works there.
In Lewis
And
Run,
we
PA.
have a lot of other places we're going to try to fill in there, and we're also doing multiple investigations again at Lilydale. We're looking at doing investigations, multiple spots in Franklinville, Ellicottville, and also other ones that are a little farther out. Now with Ryan Cavallini, we are looking at doing Crescent Sanitarium / prison, and hopefully in May as a group investigation. So we have a lot coming. I mean,
Well, yeah, and I think
and
the
we're
goal.
behind on everything. I
Yeah,
should
the
say,
goal was. I think you guys really got the idea during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home,
Yeah.
and
And we want to do something.
Wanted
with
to
our
do
grown
something,
kids
yeah.
and our relatives.
that we could have fun with. That most of us enjoy horror movies and spooky stuff, and
Real.
you guys were just sitting at home, locked inside, watching, and you were like, you know what, we could do that. Why don't we do,
I mean, we do it
And
every
we
day.
get a lot of
those
requests
contests.
even before we were a group.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, we got such and such over our house. Come over here and help us with this. You
Yeah.
know, or
Yeah, so the goal was just to kind of have fun, and then we were like, well, let's, we've got all this equipment and the video, like, why don't we do a YouTube channel,
Post it
and we'll
online.
put some of the cool stuff we find up there.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's really having a problem with a place, and they want whatever is there gone, I'm sure we could find
yeah,
the people.
We don't advertise that, but if somebody, they need us,
Or
we'll do what we can
like
to help.
Trish was saying,
Or
connect
connect.
them
Yes.
to somebody.
Connect them
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Who are you gonna
And
call?
we're becoming a network.
Spirit
Spirit
hunters.
hunters.
I like the way you said that. Yeah, we're more and more
Casey
people
and
now.
JoJo.
This is because now we are networking and we're getting all these other people. Now we have obligations to other places, and that kind of grows from there.
You guys are gonna get us a copyright strike.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't do copyrighted material. Only a couple lines.
Okay.
Well,
That I finally found you. I couldn't not do that one.
Yeah, no. In general, we don't do any cleansing or anything like that at these places.
No.
We're
Now-
going to.
We
No.
did to an extent at Hencoop with the woman.
Well,
we
there
gave
was-
her a direction that she could head into.
We
Yeah.
encouraged her to go on. That's a different thing. It seemed like some kind of weird ghost abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And we're not, just like if it was a regular person, if somebody is in turmoil, then we will help them. But no, we don't, we don't go to places to look to cleanse them or do anything like that. Only if there's a specific dire circumstance.
Yeah. We got anything else on the socials?
Nothing on TikTok.
Nothing over here.
All right. Well, I guess we can start wrapping it up there.
Yeah, we
right?
could. Do you have any other questions you wanted to ask on your phone there
No.
from previous stuff?
No, well, I mean, we're over an hour, so I'll save them for if we need them in the future there.
Okay.
So as these guys mentioned, we have, well, you're obviously on it, our Facebook group, we have Instagram and TikTok. Make sure to go to
Twitter.
Twitter, to our YouTube
Snapchat.
page to see our videos.
We have a website too.
Yep, spirithunters.group. And Lisa has a personal blog, ghostlychronicles.com.
Yep.
Check those out.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Hey, we appreciate you guys.
Yep. And
And-
what? And Lisa, you're gonna do your tagline?
Oh,
Happy hunting.
see you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.